All right, y'all, welcome back to another episode of hashtag CB99 Talks. I'm Combo Breaker 99, and this is episode 53. All right, y'all, back with another episode, man. It's been a crazy week, man. We're a week out from UFC 261, one of the biggest cards for MMA. Period. I was gonna say WMMA, but it's one of the biggest cards for just MMA. And I think that UFC 261 was actually probably one of the biggest cards in quite a while, man. Just all around, like. I feel like the significance of this card just meant so much for the world of mixed martial arts, in a time whenever, we're at the post-pandemic. And I just really feel like, the UFC has been really delivering as far as what the people want whenever it comes to fights. So when you look at this card all around, this was like a major card just for combat sports as a whole, period. You know what I mean? And, yeah, a lot of people were still talking about the aftermath from these fights. These fights really shook up the game. The main event actually lived up to something bigger than I thought it would. I felt like the two fights that we were all looking forward to, Valentina Shevchenko and Andrade, and the Weili Rose fight, were going to be the biggest fights on there. But I did my live commentary for the fights that night, and I was wowed by every single fight. I mean, we had some freak accidents in a couple of fights. Well, one was more of a freak accident. The Chris Weidman fight was more of a freak accident in there. But the Anthony Smith fight was a good fight for what it was. But that main event, man, really turned out to be something big, man. It turned out to be a solid main event, So, yeah, all around, I just had fun watching the whole card. And, a lot of people that come to my channel, we just been discussing the fights and the shakeups as far as for the flyweight division and the strawweight division, and that's why I want to talk about today's podcast. I just kind of want to sit here and kind of go off the top here, and we can just talk about the aftermath of 261. We can just kind of cover the card as a whole. I just kind of want to recap the fights, but then I really want to go in on Shevchenko versus Andrade. A few more points that I didn't really just discuss in a post-fight analysis video. I just want to talk about the champion's performance as a whole. Then I want to go into Namajunas, pulling off a big shocker over Zhang Weili, what that means for the game and what that means for her. And also, May 21st is, right around the corner now. It's May 1st now. It's actually May 1st while I'm doing this episode, and we're 20 days away from the return of Invicta FC on Access TV. So I just really want to go down the list of fights with y'all and just kind of reintroduce you to where Invicta FC is going to. Yeah, and we can kind of go from there. We'll talk about Joanna and her title shot deal. We'll talk about that again. I know people are getting tired of hearing about that, but I mean, we just got to be real with it. We got to let her know, man. We got to let even the Joanna fans know, the Joanna fanboys know that she's not entitled here, man. You've been out for a year, so we'll discuss that too. What else? And I'll give you my highlight finish also. My highlight finish for the episode as well. So yeah, man, let's backtrack here. Yeah, UFC 261 lived up to the hype. This was a return of crowds. Sold out crowd in Jacksonville, Florida. 15,000. So this really turned out to be something big for combat sports. Like I said, you had the best fighting the best on the card. Everybody wanted to fight the best. 3 title fights, to open up the return of the UFC to the live gate. And yeah, it lived up to it. I did my live commentary. This was my first time doing a live commentary for a live pay-per-view on my channel. And I thank those that came out, to my stream that night, and just kind of watch the fights with me while as I broke it down. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Going, start from the beginning with Anthony Smith, Jimmy Crute. Anthony Smith, he displayed a very nice jab in the fight. Just all around nice striking ability. He controlled the fight for that one round with his beautiful jab. Just set up his power shots behind the jab. Jimmy Crute, he was trying to establish a good leg kick in there, but Anthony Smith just was using some all-around nice movement. Double jab, shotgun jab. He was delivering in all angles and all intensity in all types of ways in that first round on Jimmy Crute. And then out of nowhere, 1 minute left in the round, boom, cracks Jimmy Crute on the leg, and Jimmy Crute falls over. Jimmy Crute the leg is gone, but he dives in for a takedown and takes Anthony Smith down. Finished the round strong. He finished the round strong on Anthony Smith, but when he tried to get back into that second round, the leg was dragging. It just looked really, really. It was beat up, man. It was really like kind of stomach churning to watch, man. The way you see him just kind of drag his foot back, and then whenever he tries to answer the bell for the second round, as he steps back, the leg is still like flopping around, like his foot won't even like step on the sole anymore. It's just like dragging, so they have to stop it. So it's a good stoppage, but it was just a good performance by Anthony Smith, the way he was doing so much damage with the jab, and then he's able to break the leg of Jimmy Crute. But shout out to Jimmy Crute for wanting to be a warrior and finish the round strong. I hope he can come back strong though, man. Yeah, definitely. I want to see that young guy come back, because he was only 17-1 coming into the fight. So yeah, hopefully he can come back strong. Oh man, though. Uriah Hall and Chris Weidman though. Chris Weidman, boy, he got that silver karma, man. Like they didn't even get to the second round, man. It started the same way. Chris Weidman tried to come in there and throw that calf kick. And boom, the shin broke the same exact way. I mean, if you match it up shot for shot like I did, I thought I posted it on my Instagram. But man, when he connected in slow motion, you could just see how when his leg broke in half, he didn't even know until he tried to place that foot back down in his stance, and you could just see the reaction. Like I was like, yo, this was even worse than the first one, man. I really felt bad for the guy, man. But it's just one of those things. But it's crazy how it happened to Chris Weidman, the same way it happened, same way it happened to Silva when he fought Weidman. It was just one of those freak accidents, man. Like I said, it's like my man Mark Spell said, the Silva curse, man. But yeah, man, I hope that Chris Weidman, he comes back, 100% on the leg. Even if he doesn't come back to fighting, I hope that the leg is in good shape. If he just if he retires, I don't want to see him damaged with like permanent damage to his leg. You know what I mean? Like, even if he doesn't come back to fighting. So I hope everything turns out for him, okay for him. But I saw him put up a message on social media letting everybody know he's okay. But I hope like the long-term effects aren't too bad on the leg. He can come back, and just be 100% on his leg just in his regular life. Uriah Hall, I felt bad for him because people don't understand. Like, they think it's an easy way out whenever a person gets easy TKO like that. But it's not easy on that fighter. It's not easy on the fighter that gets his hand raised in victory as well, because he trained for something and he's coming to prove something. You know what I mean? He's not trying to come in there and get an easy win. Like, sometimes these fighters, they'll want to go out on their shield when they could at least go all out and try to use what they used in training, what they learned in training. But Uriah Hall, it's just like he came in, got an easy win, but it's like I didn't even get a chance to prove myself. He had that kind of look like he just didn't feel like he got that release he needed, So I felt bad for Uriah Hall, but hopefully he can come back and get I know he's feeling like he wants a legit win, in sometime maybe this summer if he gets another fight. But yeah. Good openers, though. I mean, those were the fights everybody wanted to be quick, but damn, I didn't want to see it be that quick, man. What next? Let's see. Shevchenko Andrade, man. Yeah, let's jump into that, though, man. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade. I have to say, like, this is pretty much how I felt like the fight was going to go as far as, like, a stoppage. I felt like Valentina Shevchenko was going to finish on top, raining blows down on Jessica Andrade until the referee stepped in. I thought it was going to either be around the third or fourth round. But the fashion that she broke Jessica Andrade down in, man, I really didn't see it. I didn't really see it in that fashion. I didn't expect her to go in there and just, like, muscle her like she did, go strength for strength with her and prove that she was the better grappler the way she did and just show she was the stronger fighter. I said she was the stronger fighter, but at the same time, I didn't think she was going to take full advantage of it like she did and just go in there and ragdoll Jessica Andrade the way she did. You know what I mean? Because you have to give Jessica Andrade credit for who she is. She's been ragdolling girls for so long that you kind of think that's her lane. That's her lane. But Valentina Shevchenko said, "Nah, look, I'm about to turn in your lane, knock you over into this ditch here, and you ain't getting up, and you ain't getting out." And that's what she did. She went in there, used her striking a little bit, showed you that her striking was better and superior. But that first round, it was like, as soon as she got that one takedown, when she caught the leg of Jessica Andrade, when I saw her catch that leg and go in for a takedown the way she did, I was like, okay, it's downhill from here. It's downhill from here because Jessica Andrade looked really lost. Like, she bounced back up from the one takedown to get taken down again, and then got muscled towards the fence, and then got taken down again. The next thing you know, 1 minute passed, 2 minutes passed, and she's been taken down like 5 out of 5 times in the first round. So I was like, okay, Jessica Andrade is really in for something. At the end of that first round, I didn't think Jessica Andrade had any hope, not a puncher's chance or anything, because she didn't know how to measure the distance. Valentina was controlling that. And whenever Jessica tried to step in for any leg kicks, she would miss by a mile. And Valentina Shevchenko, when she wanted to go in for a takedown, she could. And she could control it because she was just at these awkward angles, like this diagonal angle around the side of the back of Jessica Andrade, and she would just completely like hold the body lock, or she would get the underhooks and just raise the shorter arms up to Jessica Andrade, and she could get no leverage or get no strength. She couldn't generate any strength because the awkward angle that Valentina was holding her at. Then all of a sudden, Valentina would just take her for a dance, and then boom, she's on the ground. So this was just an all-around perfect 2 rounds or 1.5 round for Valentina Shevchenko, showing you that, look, I can beat you at your own medicine. I'm that good of a fighter that I can do whatever I want in there against any fighter that you say may be more dangerous than me. And that's the one thing I will say Valentina proved me wrong on. I felt like Jessica Andrade going into this fight was a dangerous fighter. And that's all that Valentina Shevchenko had to overcome. Like, she didn't have to overcome like any power or any I would say she didn't have to overcome any power or any trouble with keeping Jessica Andrade at bay. But she did have to overcome the danger factor, and she did that by just going head up with the bullying the bully. Same thing I said about, Evander versus Holyfield versus Tyson in their fights. You got to meet the puncher head on, and you got to use strength on him, and you got to muscle him, and you got to just you got to tear him down. You got to tear him down. But man, 2 rounds, I didn't expect it to be in that fashion though. So yeah, man. One of the things I just wanted to talk about in the fight too is what did this fight really prove for not just Valentina Shevchenko, but for the fans. For me, I feel like this fight really proved once again why Valentina Shevchenko is just in another lane, in another dimension, like I like to say now. Like, she's just in another dimension of her own. It's because she prepares like no other, and I think it's because she could be a little harder on herself, and she really, really tries to be the best at something, and when I say something, I mean many things, not just one, but many things. She wants to make sure that she's perfected so much work in all these other disciplines, so when it all comes together in this one thing called mixed martial arts, you can really see the results. And you really don't see that from a lot of these other fighters out here. A lot of these other fighters maybe find one thing, or they find one shtick, or maybe 2 things, and they ride that, and they think that's it. It'll get you the number 1 contender status, or the number 2 or number 3, but the thing that keeps Valentina Shevchenko above the rest is her strive for perfection in every single department that can really benefit in mixed martial arts. So what this proved again is that Valentina Shevchenko is in her own lane, and she's going to stay there for as long as she wants, until Father Time takes away her reflexes or her legs. That's about it. Like, I don't see anybody else right now being a threat. Like, even the fighters I say are the triple threat now, from what I've seen in Valentina Shevchenko and the way she approached this fight, I don't see anybody touching that right now. Not just with physical strength, not just with their jiu-jitsu, not just with their speed or timing. It's going to take more than that. And I mean, we could see that too up to the build-up of this fight. Like, Valentina Shevchenko, the look she had in her eyes at that stare down at Jessica Andrade, it was just so intense. And she was letting you know that I don't see a bully. That's what she was thinking. She was like, I don't see a bully here. I just see another body that's going to be on my resume. And, that's how it turned out to be. Valentina Shevchenko went in there and said, look, you think you're the strongest out there? Y'all think she's the strongest? Y'all think she's the biggest, baddest brute out here? No, she's not. I am. And she did that. She went into that lane and said, look, I'm going to prove to you that I can do what she does, and I can do it better. And to me, that's what makes it even more so. That's what makes it even more so, like, I won't, I'm sure these other contenders out there are feeling frustrated in the flyweight division. I'm sure they are feeling frustrated. So I think frustrated is the word that I'm looking for when I say that these girls out there are going to be a little bit frustrated, because Valentina Shevchenko, with the way she took her out, it's up there the way Zhang Weili did too, because Zhang Weili took her out in one round, starts Jessica Andrade, but the way Valentina Shevchenko did it, it was just so much more, again, like intimidating, because they saw Valentina Shevchenko beat her at her own game. See, Zhang Weili, she did what you're supposed to do if you're a better striker than Jessica Andrade. You counterpunch her, you stay on the back foot, you counterpunch, and when you crack her, you knock her out. But Valentina Shevchenko said, I'm not going to knock her out. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do what she does. I'm going to go in there and wrestle the bear. That's what she did. She said, I'm going to go in there and head up with her, and I'm going to show her that I can do what she does. And let's see if she can out wrestle me or out grapple me. Let's see if she can out strength me. And then that point, whenever it was in the second round, whenever she tried to go in for a signature slam, like she went down for that single leg, and you could see like Jessica Andrade get that little jolt where she was going to try to lift her up, and Valentina didn't budge. That was like the game changer right there. I think that was like the wheel breaker where Andrade said, I can't pick her up, I can't slam her, it's over. So that's kind of intimidating for all these other flyweight contenders to watch from the outside. Now they're like, damn, she did that. Like, she beat her at her own game. Like, nah, she didn't counterpunch or outstrike her. She beat her at her own game. So, they got to be thinking like, we gotta switch up our game. We gotta do something. Either that or they gotta hit for the hills. You know what I mean? So Andrade, Shevchenko, she proved a lot in this Andrade fight. She proved a lot, just not to herself, but to us. She knew she had that in her. We just needed to see it and be proven wrong or proven right. Like I said, I felt like Andrade wasn't as strong, like a well-rounded, strong fighter as Valentina Shevchenko. Shevchenko was much more of a grounded fighter. Like I said, every bit of her regimen is to make sure she's strong in the right places, whether it be balance or core or just staying grounded or punching. It's not all about knockout power with her. If the knockout comes, so be it. So yeah, that was that's what I had to say about that though. Whenever I first saw the fight, like that was my first reaction after the fight. It was like, wow, like she just proved again to like all these other fighters out there, like she's just on another level and nobody's touching her right now. But this is something that a lot of people are talking about now that she's beat Jessica Andrade. Is Shevchenko too good for her own good? Is she too good for her own good? I don't think so. I never try to say like being good or being great is a curse for a fighter. To me, it's not. If you're getting the results you want and you're getting the accomplishments that you want out of what you want out of mixed martial arts or boxing, whatever it is, if you're getting whatever you want and you're getting the results that you want, then you are not too good for your own good. I think that's how the critics, they'll see it, because they can't do what you do. So they'll say, oh man, you weren't in a tough fight. You beat another fighter so easy. Like, they'll just kind of blow you off. They'll say, you're fighting bums, or they're not on your level, so it's boring. No, it's really not. I mean, yeah, they might turn their heads, but they're still fascinated. They're still going to have to give you your accolades and they have to give you your credit. So being as good as you are, no, you want to be that. That's your whole goal. So I'm sure Valentina Shevchenko never at a point feels like that, damn, I wish I wasn't this good. Or she's probably feeling like, oh man, like I wish there was somebody that could challenge me or almost beat my behind so I won't look this good. No, she trains to look this good. She wants to exceed everybody else and be this good. It's just like being a valedictorian. You want to rise above the rest. You want to be better than everybody else. You don't want somebody riding your tail all the time. You want to be like years ahead, because that's what you studied for. That's what you hit the books for every day. Why you made sure you studied, did your homework, and passed every exam, because you wanted the highest grade. You didn't want to say, oh, I want to have to compete at some point. You want to surpass everybody else. And that's how I feel like Valentina Shevchenko is thinking right now. Like, she's not too good for her own good. She's like, I'm this good because I got here, because I dedicated myself to that. That's how Floyd Mayweather was. Like, people started saying, oh, Floyd was too good for his own good because, you know, he would beat everybody so easy in whatever division he was in. But no, he just prepared for that, and he meant for it to be that way. You know, it's not always about a competitive fight or a fight of the night. It's about being fighter of the year. It's not about fight. It's not even about like fight of the century. It's about being fighter of the century. You know, I changed that from fight of the night to fighter of the night. You know how I changed it. But yeah, you know what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's about being the greatest of all time. Like, people kind of downplay Larry Holmes. You know, Larry Holmes, you know, went on like, what was it? How many title defenses? Like over 20 title defenses of the heavyweight crown. And people were trying to kind of downplay his era, say he wasn't fighting the best. No, he was just better than him. You know, he was just better than him. And, you know, he perfected that jab, and he perfected his boxing ability to be that good. Now, I know you might say, you can argue Ali's era was better, but for Larry Holmes to exceed above the rest, you still have to gauge it on his era like that. You know, for Valentina Shevchenko, you might say the flyweights aren't that good. No, they're good. The flyweights are good because they're competitive amongst each other. You know, from the number 1 contender down to the number 10, you put those, you mix those girls up and mix those ladies up any type of way, you really don't know who's going to come out on top. You know, we don't know if Caitlin Kagan is going to beat Viviane Araújo or vice versa. But every time you put Valentina in there with one of them, you know who's going to win the fight, right? So on that level, it is competitive in the flyweight division, just, you know, amongst those ladies. But it's just that Valentina Shevchenko is that good, even better, you know. So I don't think she is too good for her own good. You know, this is her. This is what you want to be. You know, you don't want somebody standing right next to you saying, oh, these two fighters are the same. No, she's trying to single herself out and be the best. That's why she's always saying, like, put any girl in front of me, I'll fight him. I don't care who it is. Just put him in front of me. That's who I'm fighting next. And then I'll show you who the best fighter is. That's how her mentality has always been. You know, it's always been about her being the best, self-preservation, being that best fighter. So I kind of, you know, left that alone long time ago. You know, whenever people would always say, oh, this fighter is too good, they're too good for their own good, because, you know, they're not letting people whoop their behinds and stuff. I'm like, nah, man, like, if you are that good, stay that good. Stay that good, because it's going to pay off in the long run, and you'll be in the lane of your own, and that's what you really want. So, yeah, man, again, that was a great performance by Valentina Shevchenko, and, yeah, she's always going to be known as one of the best fighters in the world in MMA, and I think that she could easily go for 10 title defenses. Let's be honest. I mean, she's at 5 right now, but I think she can pull off another 5 the way these other ladies are looking right now. I mean, there's some, you know, talented ladies in the flyweight division, but after seeing what Shevchenko does and can do and what she can do in the future, these girls out there, they better start tightening it up for real. You know, they got to start tightening it up for real now, man, you know. But, yeah, let's move on, though. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think, though, about Shevchenko. Too good for her own good? Nah, not at all, man. Let's move on, though. Let's see. Co-main event. Yeah, man. Rose Namajunas, she does it, man. She does it once again. She scores another highlight of her career, you know, in dope, shocking fashion to win the belt against Zhang Weili. I'll say this about Rose Namajunas. Rose Namajunas, she can win a belt in crazy, historic fashion. Let me put it that way. I mean, the way she came in there against Joanna, after Joanna talked all that trash, you know, she went in there, blasted Joanna out and won, right? You know, check left hook, dropped her, finished her off. I mean, yeah, she knows how to do that, right? And to become a 2-time champion, she does it again. You know, Zhang Weili, everybody felt like Zhang Weili had the tools to beat Rose Namajunas. But Rose, once again, she rises to the occasion. You know, she kind of builds up this energy that transitions into the octagon that a lot of us didn't agree with, you know. And it worked. It worked for her. You know, she came in there with a first-round knockout via head kick over Zhang Weili. I didn't see that coming. I seen this fight. First of all, I have to say, the fight wasn't going to go the distance. I knew that. Either way, it wasn't going to go the distance. And I did say this, like, if Zhang keeps her hands down throughout the fight, she will get picked apart. And I seen this scenario playing out in my head with her getting clipped with like a punch, like a left hook, maybe in like the third or fourth round. In the third or fourth round, I saw that. And the other scenario was Zhang Weili just dogging Rose out, ragdolling her, taking it down, ground and pound finish. I saw those two scenarios playing out. I did not see Zhang getting put out with one head kick in the first round. That was crazy. But that just goes to show you how, what's the word I'm looking for? That just goes to show you how she was really ignoring the fact that she had such a big hole in her defense. It was almost like she was oblivious. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, she was just very oblivious to the fact that her hands were down and she was just too comfortable. That's the one thing that led to the knockout. It wasn't just the precision and the accuracy and the power of that kick to the jaw. It was the fact that Zhang Weili was very oblivious to the fact that her defense was lacking. And whenever you don't see stuff coming, you just don't think it could happen to you. That's when it happens to you, and it comes at you 10 times worse than it could ever be. That's why they always say the shots that you don't see, they hurt the most. And it's true. It's true. Because Zhang Weili, look at that first round. She was establishing her leg kick. The leg kick was landing. The leg kick was landing. She was getting comfortable. She felt like, okay, this is all I got to do, right? Rose ain't got anything else for me, so this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to just keep landing this leg kick. Boom. Out. Out because the hands were down. And she saw the little feint. She got the wrong reaction. She didn't think the leg was coming up to the head. She moved, she dodged out of the way of of what she thought was going to be a leg kick coming, and boom, she got kicked in the head. So it just lets you know that she was never really like a position to defend the necessary parts of her body, like the chin. Like that just goes to show you that's something that they weren't working on in training. So some people are calling it a lucky shot. Not at all. I think Rose Namajunas prepared for that. This is Rose's game. She's a good outside fighter. And this is what I said. Her keys to victory is to be an outside fighter. Outside the whole round. Outside round 2. Outside round 3 until you can get a decision or you stop her. And I think that was Rose's game plan, just to keep it a pretty fight on the outside, which is what I said. Be the artist. And she did that. She knocked her out because, Zhang Weili got caught slipping there. And like I said, it all came down to the fact that it was an accurate shot, good, powerful, accurate shot, but it was the fact that Zhang Weili was just, again, she was just ignoring the fact that could have came. It wasn't playing out in her mind. She wasn't cautious enough. She wasn't defensive-minded enough. Just oblivious to the fact that a head kick could come. And that's what happened. That's what I took from it. The more and more I just kind of played back the knockout in my head, that's kind of what I took. But yeah, I was more so just shocked it was in the first round, but I really wasn't shocked. I knew it was going to be a stoppage on either end in this fight this time around, because like I said, Rose, she will rise to that occasion, and she will score stoppages if you give her the space. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a fighter to give her space, and that's how she scores knockouts. That's why she knocked out Joanna, but she couldn't knock out Jessica Andrade either time. But let's say this, a lot of people are saying Rose is going down as a GOAT. She's going down as a great fighter now. I can't say she's a GOAT yet. There's still a lot of work to do to be considered the greatest of all time, especially whenever you won the belt and you defended it once and then you lost the belt and now you win the belt again, and we still got to see what you can do with the belt. You know what I mean? Like, what Rose is doing is historic, of course, because she's rising to the occasion and she's beating these tough champions, but she's not really like staying in that position. She's a 2-time champion because she couldn't keep the belt the first go round. Let's remember that now. So let's remember that. So what she's doing is historic, but you just can't really throw out the term GOAT, because that would kind of downplay what Amanda Nunes does. That would downplay what Valentina Shevchenko does, and that would downplay what Chris Cyborg does. See, Rose is a very, very talented fighter, and I like her style, and I like what she can do in there. But there's some things about her that just kind of put her in a different category than these fighters like Amanda, Valentina, and Chris. Like, And I say it downplays them. It would downplay them if you put her in this same category, because these ladies, they stay consistent. You know, consistency is a big part of them. You know, discipline, consistency, and staying on the clock. When it's time to fight, they stay on the clock. When it's time for a call out, they stay on the clock. You know, they stay in fight mode. You know, they don't get too emotional. They don't get too up and down. It's always about being the best and exceeding that. You know, when they get the belt, it's theirs. It's their baby. They want to keep it. You know, they don't feel pressure on it. You know, they don't feel pressures. They don't feel those pressures and say, you know, oh man, like this is going to be too much being the champion, or they lose the belt and say, oh, this is a relief. You know, Chris Cyborg, when she lost it to Nunes, she wanted that rematch, you know. It just didn't work out that way because of Dana White, but she wanted that rematch. Valentina Shevchenko, she feels a certain way about her two close fights with Amanda Nunes, especially the second fight. You know, she feels like she probably did enough to win. I still feel like Valentina won. I still feel like Nunes won the fight, but Valentina still feels a certain way. You know, she doesn't let it eat away at her, but she still feels like if Dana lets her get that fight and Nunes wants that fight, she'll take that fight because that's something that she wants to exceed and be better in. You know, she's not just going to say, I'll let that go. I don't have to worry about those pressures anymore. No, she still wants to be the best. Same with Nunes. That's why Nunes is juggling these two titles right now. She's not going to let up on the featherweight belt or the bantamweight belt until they make her vacate it. You know, Rose we're still thinking about because after that first time she lost it, it didn't seem like she wanted it anymore, you know? So I can't really put her in a category with these ladies because these ladies are on GOAT status. I feel like Rose she's in that running. She's a Hall of Famer, of course. She's a Hall of Famer and she's doing historic things, but there's kind of a path you have to be considered the greatest of all time. You know, there's good boxers out there, there's Hall of Fame champions out there, but then there's Muhammad Ali. You know, there's a Muhammad Ali, and then there's a Jack Johnson. You know what I mean? These trailblazers, these greatest of all times that fought under pressure and always had the tools, mentally and physically, to do great. You know what I mean? And I feel like Rose can rise to the occasion on certain moments, but there comes a time whenever she can still kind of crumble. And I want to see her prove me wrong with that by, you know, keeping this belt and defending it a few times. You know, how do y'all feel about that? You know, that's how I feel. I just can't give her full on credit to be a GOAT yet. You know, there's a lot of work to being a GOAT. You know, there's just look at these resumes again, the Chris, the Amanda, and Valentina. There's no up and down in there. There's always consistent work. And Rose's got some historic moments there and some big names, you know, some good names on there, but there's not that consistency with keeping belts. And there's never that speech about put anybody in front of me, I want to knock them out, I want to beat them. It's never like the energy they carry. I mean, she could be that if she starts from here, this be day one, you know, or the day she won the championship, you know, last Saturday, and just keep going from there, you know. Let me know what y'all think, though. You know, like usually in the comment section, let me know what you think. Now, I can't consider her a GOAT yet. Yeah, definitely historic Hall of Fame fighter, though, but not full-on greatest of all time, or, you know, in that, like I said, GOAT status. Zhang Weili, this was another thing that I kind of wanted to discuss, you know, because Zhang Weili, going into this fight, a lot of people felt like after the knockout, they were kind of going back to study different things about her body language and coming to the octagon, and they felt like she was under pressure. You know, even coming to the States, they felt like she was going to be under a lot of pressure. And when she heard those boos, some people felt like the boos put her in a different mind frame. So was she under pressure? I think Zhang Weili was a little bit under pressure, you know, coming to Jacksonville, Florida, you know, coming back to a big crowd, you know, that was definitely going to be pro Rose after some of the things that Rose said. But I don't think it was just all pressure, though. I think part of it was the pressure, you know, some of the boos, because that's kind of a first for her. You know, that's a first for her. It's out of her element, you know, and it was kind of a different energy like the first go round from some of these other fights, like with Joanna and so on. You know, those were fights on smaller levels, but I think deep down, even if it didn't show and it doesn't show in what she says in interviews, I think it did have some effect on her, you know, and you have to factor that stuff in. Like, I'm not saying that's an excuse on why she got knocked out at all. No, I'm just saying it can come into play just a little bit. You know, every little bit comes into play because mental is a big part of fighting, and the crowd can play a mental. It can, you know, play a big part on you mentally too. You know, fighters going to, you know, fighters that go to the UK to fight, you know, a lot of boxers, that American boxers that go to the UK, you just got to have tunnel vision because they're throwing crap at you, you know. So I see a lot of fighters that go there, get their first title over there, and, you know, they're getting booed, and when you win, oh man, you're really getting it, you know. So that's kind of how she felt here. I mean, minus the trash, not too many people were throwing, not people weren't throwing stuff at Zhang Weili. That wasn't something she had to worry about. But as a woman, you know, they still feel a certain way. They can get a little bit emotional. So I think Zhang did feel a little bit of pressure, but I don't think it was just all pressure. I think it was just, you know, lack of defense too that really came into play. And I think that's just something she got to go back and work on. And that's something that's going to lead to my last part, and I want to talk about in this fight is for Zhang Weili. I'll say this too. This is some words for her. You know, a lot of respect for Zhang Weili, but a lot of people are going to say certain things like you're overrated. They're going to say, I knew you were going to lose, or you weren't that good, or you were fighting bums. None of that is true. Everything that led up to this fight still stands the same. I still feel like she is this force. You know, was taken down a little bit, you know, because some holes were exposed in the game, but I still feel like she is this hungry young champion. This is just a minor setback, but we can't say it's over because it's not over for her. This is just the beginning of her career where she faced a bit of a setback, and you just got to go back and work on it. Like, not every road is going to be perfect. You know, Amanda Nunes, she lost a few fights early in her career. She's not on a perfect winning streak. Cyborg lost her first fight, you know, and she went on a winning streak after. She lost to Amanda Nunes, but did she count herself out? No, she's back. She made some improvements on her striking game, and she made some improvements on her on her clinch work now. You know, she's perfected herself more and more. Like, she learned from that loss. So for Zhang Weili, you know, for those that are counting her out, you know, she's not out. You know, she still has a lot of the tools that could still beat Rose. It's just about adding the right things and adding the right elements to your game to bring you closer and closer to a well-rounded fighter. And I think that, like I said, Zhang Weili, she's going to go back and work on those things, and you'll see her with that belt again. I can honestly say I think Zhang Weili will get that belt again, whether it be in a Rose Namajunas rematch, it'll be against somebody in the strawweight division. She'll beat that person to get that belt back, and I think she does have that drive for consistency. You know, she is a goal-oriented type fighter where she wants to be the best, and this was a setback. She's going to go back. She's going to feel crushed, but you already saw on her Instagram that she calling for a rematch, so she knows she did something wrong, and she wants to correct that. Whether she gets the rematch right away, you know, I think that she feels that she's got to work on some things, and she'll be back. That's why I say, like, you can't listen to a lot of people. This goes to Zhang Weili, and this goes to all the, you know, the haters and the casual fans too. Like, you can't count a fighter out after one loss. Like, we call this fight the best fighting the best, right? So when the best beats the best, why does that best all of a sudden become trash in y'all's eyes? No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. These two fighters were on the top of the game. This was Zhang. She was the champion. This is Rose. She was the #1 contender, right? So when they fight and that #1 contender beats that champion has become the #1 contender now. So that doesn't make them trash. They still are a good fighter. They still are one of the best out there. You know, because you can't do that. You trolls that are calling her exposed and hype job, you can't do that. You know, she could come back and beat Rose if she tightens up her game. That's how good they are. They're on the top. You know, nobody's saying it's a guarantee. It's going to be a battle for that. You know, that's why, you know, they have fighters that climb that contender status because they're trying to knock that fighter off the top. They come back and work at it. So it's going to be a battle. You're going to see her come back. You know, so yeah, Zhang Weili, she'll be back. not a hype job at all, man. Not in my eyes. I think she's still the fighter that I think she is. I mean, there's just some improvements to be made, but I think she could come back. I definitely do. I definitely think she could come back. So yeah, man, let's move on though. Yeah, great night of fights though, man. But we got some great fights coming up. All right, so let's move on. All right, good news, man. Good news. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, but Invicta FC is back and they've got a home. Invicta FC is on Access TV, and I think in Canada it's going to be on Fight Network. And their first card is coming in 20 days, y'all. May 21st. We got a full card with 2 title fights, 1 flyweight title fight, and an atomweight title fight. 7 fights total on the card. I'm looking forward to this one, man, because Invicta FC for a minute, I was kind of worried about them, man, because when they lost that home with UFC Fight Pass, I was kind of wondering what the deal was going to be. I've asked a few fighters, and some fighters told me there was good news coming. They couldn't really let the cat out the bag at the time because it was like maybe a month or two ago when I asked about it, but they couldn't really tell me much about it. But yeah, I was like, I was kind of on the fence. I was like, are they going to be gone? Are they going to be a bust? What's going to happen to all these women? Because Invicta FC is a major platform. Like, it's not on the level of a Bellator or UFC, but it's a major platform. I consider Invicta FC to be just as major as LFA in my eyes, or maybe like about the same. I really consider them about the same because they do a lot for women's MMA, and they bring in a lot of the stars that you've seen that go over to either Bellator or UFC. They bred a lot of champions. Everybody from Nunes, Chris Cyborg, Megan Anderson, Rose Namajunas, Tisha Torres. Everybody in the Tough House from the strawweight edition came from Invicta. The strawweight champion Carlos Esparza, from Invicta came over there. So Invicta FC is major. It's major. Like I said, it's one of the things that really, really, really got me into being a diehard fan of WMMA. And then just loving MMA altogether. So I was glad when I heard Invicta FC finally found a home with Access TV because I was like, this is needed. Like, y'all got to get them somewhere. If Access TV doesn't pick them up, ESPN or Fox Sports needs to pick them up because, they are a major platform for women fighters. I know a lot of the women fighters can go to Cage Fury, LFA, and so on, but you don't have any other organization that are just focused on the women and give them a platform to fight where, they're not just like spots on like some of these cards, like, even with the UFC or like LFA, sometimes like you'll get maybe 2 or 3 at most. Icon recently did like 4 women's fights on one card. Combate Global tonight, as I speak, they're doing an all women's card tonight, but they are all women all the time, and that's what's really needed if these women really want to get to the major platforms and want to be seen as great fighters as well. That's why I've always respected Shannon Knapp and what they do for women coming over into mixed martial arts. So I'm glad Invicta FC's got it home. And like I said, they got these 7 fights coming up, major fights. Finally got some title fights lined up, solidified last time out. That last card that, just kind of switched up and, with Kayla Harrison became the main event and everything. That card was supposed to be a doubleheader with title fights. We were supposed to have Emily Ducote fighting Conejo for the strawweight title, but that got messed up, and we were supposed to have the flyweight belt being fought for by Aaron Blanchfield and Pearl Gonzalez. That got messed up, but now we're back, y'all. We got it back, man, and we got some good fights here. The 7 fights we got, though, let me go down the list here. Some of these girls are new. Some of them I'm familiar with, of course. First up, the strawweight fight we have to open up the card is Fatima Klein and Ariana Melendez. Then we have a flyweight fight with Josie Storts versus Maria Favela. Another flyweight fight I'm familiar with, Juliana Miller and Claire Guthrie. And, of course, this bantamweight fight, our girl Tanisha Tennant versus Hope Chase. This is a rematch. This is actually a 3-round fight this time because they fought on the bantamweight Phoenix Rising tournament, and that's where Tanisha Tennant, she took it all. And I'm really wishing this was a triple title header, man. They really need to let Tanisha Tennant fight for a belt now, man. I'm tired of waiting with this, man. Julia Stoyarenko doesn't hold the belt anymore. That belt is vacant, right? So if Tanisha Tennant wins this fight, she should be fighting for the belt. So, hopefully, she goes in there and does it again, does that work, man. But that's one of the major fights I'm looking forward to. And strawweight fight, I'm a fan of Emily Ducote and versus Liz Tracy. Liz Tracy, I think she's been fighting at flyweight, if I'm correct, because she went in there and fought Stephanie Geltmacher, I know she just did the underground grappling series, and she just was in the grappling tournament with Jillian Roberts. Yeah, she was just in that too. So yeah, I'm familiar with her. And moving on to the title fights, atomweight title fight is atomweight champion Alicia Zapatella versus Jessica Del Boni. And then the flyweight title, that's vacant. That's going to be Karina Rodriguez and Diana Torquato. So yeah, I'm familiar with all four of those ladies. So expect some action. Alicia Zapatella, very solid wrestler. She's been working on her striking. Jessica Del Boni, she's a good stand-up fighter. I think it's going to be a good action-packed fight. I think she's going to push Alicia Zapatella and really make her work. Karina Rodriguez, another good fighter, another good stand-up fighter. I feel like, she hasn't really been getting that recognition and shine, but here she goes. She gets to fight for a title. This is going to do it, man. So, yeah, man, Invicta FC, they're doing us right, man. They found us a home. They found their fans a home, so we can actually just sit down and, say, oh, we get these fights on an actual channel now. And, yeah, I'm glad Invicta FC's got a home now. So, yeah, guys, definitely check it out. May 21st is going down. I am. I still need to actually go to one of these cards too, man. I've been trying to go down there to Kansas City, Missouri, and catch one of these cards, man. But yeah, I still haven't actually gone out to one yet. But yeah, man. Let's move on though. Another topic here. This topic here, we talk about this a lot over here, man. We talked about a live stream the other day too, man. But I just want to bring it up here on a podcast episode because I haven't talked about it in a podcast. I don't think I talked about it on live stream or whatever. But UFC 261 was big, man, because it was bringing everybody out. Everybody was watching. Stars were watching. But, of course, this one title contender is still watching closely, trying to get their title shot. And, she was very vocal with the tweets. She was very tweet happy during this. During the fight, as the walkout was happening, after the fight, she was making it known that she wants a title shot. And I'm talking about none other than Joanna. The former champion, Joanna, is still hunting for that title shot after a year layoff. And recently, she did this interview. I'm just going to kind of go through it and, cover some points in the interview and then kind of give you my thoughts on what she said here. But Joanna wants that title shot. Let's be real. Joanna wants the title shot. She said, look, who am I going to be fighting tonight? Before the fight took place. And now she's screaming for that title shot. She said, I don't need no title. I don't need no title eliminator. I want a straight title shot because I'm that good. I'm the baddest. But let me read this to you. She said this in the interview. I called Mick Maynard a few days ago and I just told him, you know what? The baddest bee on the planet is back. So book the fight, watch the fight, and tell everybody that I'm next. I know there's so many people who are like, you lost, you have to prove it again. I proved it in my last fight, putting on an effing show. Given the closest fight ever, that's the thing. Fight of the year, no gender, no weights. It's the ticket for the next fight. That's the thing. I just don't want to fight for nothing anymore. And what else did she say here? If I fight for big trophies and I don't have to prove it to anybody. I want to get the winner of the fight. I won't fight. I won't stop. That's the thing. If I was losing by knockouts, if I was losing fights on points and the difference was big, but it's not, I always put on a show. And if the fights are very close, so I want to keep on going. So Joanna, she's trying to argue this point that, she deserves a title shot here with those points that she made. But all right, so after reading that interview, I just had to give y'all my thoughts once again because she's kind of speaking the same thing that she spoke once a while back about, fighting without a crowd. She's still kind of talking with that ego. And, Joanna kind of speaks like the groundwork that she laid, like 4 or 5 years ago still really stands to what she does today. And to a certain extent it does. You were a former champion. You were one of the best strawweight champions, if not the best strawweight champion. You were one of the more consistent champions in the strawweight division. You defended your title 5 times, but that was like 4 years ago now. You held the title 4 years ago. So to me, that doesn't hold enough weight for you to say, oh, I can stay inactive for a year and come back and get another title shot. It doesn't work that way. Being inactive for a year, the anticipation goes down, even for the fans. The fans that are waiting for you to fight that fight of the year again with Zhang Weili, that anticipation goes down because eyes are going to these other hungry contenders. Eyes are going to Mackenzie Dern. Eyes are going to Carla Esparza. Eyes are going to Rose. They're going to Zhang Weili. You know, there's just so much going on in the strawweight division there's just so much going on where we don't have time to just focus on Joanna. You know, so Joanna, after being inactive for a year, you have to kind of find your place again. Nobody's saying you got to start from the bottom, but you still have to find your place again because, again, you've been out for a year while other fighters are laying down the groundwork. So with that, contenders are ahead of you. Contenders, they've been doing that work trying to get ahead of you. You know, they know that there's an expiration date on contender status, you know, and with Joanna being out, her contender status is expiring. I'm saying it's expiring because she can still come back and fight maybe one fight and then get a title eliminator. I'll give her one contender and then she can fight for that title again because she hadn't fallen too far. And the longer she waits, it's going to be expired. Like, I'm giving her a few more months and I'm saying it's expired. You don't hold that weight anymore because, again, you got Yan Xiaonan, who's on a 2-fight win streak or more. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then you got Carla Esparza, who's on a 4-fight win streak right now. If she beats Yan, she's on a 5-fight winning streak. So she's ahead of you to get that title shot. And then you got Zhang Weili, who just lost to Rose Namajunas, who might be in running to get a rematch with Rose Namajunas right away. So there's other fighters ahead of you right now. So with those other fighters ahead of you, your contender status is expiring because these other fighters are getting ahead of you and they're putting themselves in better position to get a title eliminator. So expiration is a factor. It's something, it's real. It's real because the longer you wait, other fighters are going to stand in front of you, and your foundation that you're talking about and your arguments that you're trying to make and your credibility is eventually going to fall back onto deaf ears because all these other fighters are actually doing something that's worth something while you just kind of sit back and wait. And then we just got to look at the fact that your previous fights, we're looking at that right now. We're looking at your fight resume. You're 2-4 in your last 6 fights. 2-4 in your last 6 fights. All 4 losses were title fights. Just think about that for a minute, even to the Joanna fans. 2-4. 2-4. So why are you so keen and why do you feel like you're so ready, deserving to come back and just get a title shot? Why can't you at least just fight one contender first and then go into a title shot? You know, use that time to sharpen up your skills. Use that time to say, okay, this is why I lost those title fights because I always do this wrong. I always do this. I always do that. You know, these are my bad habits. Let me work on that. You know, but you want to just come straight back in, go right back into the Sharks after over a year off, and then what? Lose again? No. You can't do that. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's not much to stand on here because your losses were those 4 title fights. One to Rose, another to Rose, Valentina Shevchenko, then Zhang Weili. You beat Tisha Torres and Michelle Waterson in between that time. But even then, you were taking those stay busy fights before you got into title fights, right? So why not do that now? Especially after a year off. It would make more sense after a year off to do a title contender fight. You know, you were doing it when you were active. Why not just do it now? Nobody's asking you to start from the bottom up. Like I keep saying, take one fight, blow that person out, and make us say, oh, yeah, she had missed a step. Or wow us and make us say she deserves a title shot. Or at least the Zhang Weili rematch now, you know. And with that, she said that she doesn't want to fight for anything. And, you know, she doesn't want to fight for nothing. Well, she won't be fighting for nothing. If you fight a legit contender, that's to sharpen up your skills. And again, wow people to get you that title shot, you know. And I do understand the fact that she doesn't want to be as active because she said that in an interview before because, yeah, she's been beating her body up here and there, you know. She said, oh, man, I've been doing this, doing that, you know, preparing for these fights, fighting 2 to 3 times a year before. And, you know, she says she eventually wants to have kids. I understand that. But after a year off, fighting one more fight before a title fight, you know, that's not that bad. You know, that's not that bad. That's why I say just fight one contender fight and then try to win that strap again. So just think logical. You know, that's what I'm just saying. Like, you just got to think logical. You just can't jump ahead of these other fighters and say, okay, it's time for me to get this title shot because I'm Joanna. No, you just can't say I'm Joanna. That stands on something because even these other fighters out here that have been champions longer and maybe even better champions, whether it be boxing or MMA, they humble themselves and fight non-title fights. Conor McGregor, he's doing it. Hell, the best example right now is Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker was knocked out by Israel Adesanya almost 2 years ago. And what did he do? He didn't say, let me get Izzy again. My weight was off. I got knocked out because my weight. Oh, man, he called me a lucky punch. Let me get that title shot. No, you know what he did? He went back to the drawing board, went on a 4-fight win streak, cleaned up part of the division, and now he's trying to put Izzy into a corner to actually say, look, I beat everybody else in this division. Now give me that rematch. So now he's more so deserving of that rematch, you know? He's deserving of a title shot because he humbled himself and fought for 4 fights, you know, to get himself better. Went on a 4-fight win streak now. 4-fight win streak. And now he's in a good position where he can actually argue for a title shot. I'm not even saying Joanna has to do that. I'm saying Joanna can do maybe 1 fight, maybe 2, but just 1 fight before she actually gets that title shot. But look, yeah, so Robert Whittaker, he's doing it. So, yeah, all you got to do is humble yourself and say, look, let me go back, been off a year, let me get this fight here, just put myself back in the mix somewhere, and then when people see me beat whoever it is, you know, beat this person, then boom, I get my title shot. And believe me, when you do that just one time, casual fans and Joanna fanboys, they will say, oh man, she's ready. And then Dana, he will say, give her that title shot. So that's all I'm saying. But yeah, overall, her trying to get a title shot again, I just disagree with that right off the top. After a year off, and then her saying that, it was just close fights and, you know, they weren't all knockouts. Well, first off, the second Rose fight, you lost pretty bad. The first one, of course, is a knockout. And the Valentina fight was competitive at times, but overall, Valentina did whatever she wanted to do in that fight. Let's be honest. Valentina did whatever she wanted to do in the Joanna fight, so that was a dominant fight. The only close fight to me out of the 4 losses was the Zhang Wei Li fight. And that was fight of the year. And again, fight of the year is not that's not a solid argument in getting a title shot, because again, when fighters get fight of the year, they can be on any level. You know, fight of the year can be put on by prospects, it can be put on by champions. You know, that doesn't mean you're blowing somebody out with skill and then you're a threat to the champion. No. You know, fight of the year means you put on a show for the fans. You went blow for blow. You had action. You put blood. You had heart. You had all of that in it. But it's not really saying that you're a threat to the champion. You know, a title eliminator that you win by blowout, that gets you a title shot. You go in there, you earn that title shot by blowing that person out, not by putting on a very, very close fight. Close fight does not get you a title shot. If anything, you probably got to run it back with that person and prove that you're better than that person more convincingly, and then you get that title shot. So yeah, man, that's how I feel about that. I just really want to go back and make that argument. Like I said, I'll talk about it anytime I want. I'll bring that up, and I'll make that argument anytime, man. Anytime, or anybody that wants to go at me with that. But that's my solid reasons on Joanna. She's inactive for a year. There's fighters ahead of her like Carla and Yan Zhao that deserve a title shot right now. Even Zhang Wei Li maybe deserves it more so than Joanna does right now. And she just has to go back to the drawing board and sharpen her skills up, because fighters like Robert Whittaker, they're doing that. So yeah, that's just it. That's it. And again, resume. You know, she's 2-4, 4 losses in the 4 losses are title fight. So yeah, those are good reasons right there on why she doesn't get a title shot before these other ladies. So yeah, let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about that though. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. But let me do my highlight finish of the episode. And highlight finish of the episode, this is a big one because it proved me wrong. I didn't think this fight was gonna wow me like it did, but I had to give it to Kamaru Usman, the middleweight champion, knocking out Jorge Masvidal in 2 rounds in his rematch. Man, this main event had wowed me that night, man. I was expecting just another dominant performance by Kamaru Usman, maybe submitting Jorge Masvidal, or maybe, just taking him to the ground, putting on a wrestling clinic. But nah, man, he went in there, showcased beautiful boxing, beautiful striking. Usman from round 1, he took a few leg kicks, but he established a beautiful jab, was slamming it in the face of Jorge Masvidal. And what did that jab open up? It opened up some beautiful right hands, a couple of double right hands, smacked Jorge Masvidal in the face. All he could do was smile. He threw a flying knee a couple of times, didn't have any success. He got taken down. which was how I thought the pace was going to be set. He was able to get back up. What happened? Pop jab from Kamaru Usman. Good right hands. And the way these shots were landing clean, I said, I think I could smell something coming now. Something was coming. The second round opened up. Kamaru Usman setting that pace, just being patient, playing chess. And then he throws out a good right hand, cracks Jorge Masvidal once with the right hand. Jorge Masvidal, he smiles. Kamaru Usman, he's backing him up. He throws out a flick jab towards the chest, and boom, straight, almost like straight right hand connects on the chin of Masvidal as he's trying to turn in an angle, knocks the sweat, knocks the soul out of his body, and he is out cold. Kamaru Usman is about to jump on him and land some more hammer fists. He let out the anger, man. He dropped them hammer fists. Ref had to step in and pull him off. I was like, yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. That's the fashion I wanted to see Usman do this fight in, because Masvidal was just talking too much good junk, in this fight, and had so many people believing his hype. Had the crowd booing Usman. I know he was down in Florida, but still, Usman, he was the champion. You got to respect that. And he went in there and beat 100% Jorge Masvidal. A full training camp Jorge Masvidal in better fashion than the short notice Masvidal. So, full credit. That's my highlight finish to this episode. Usman KO'ing Masvidal in 2 rounds with that beautiful right hand, showing you that a wrestler like him has some of the best, most dangerous striking right now in his division. So yeah, man, shout out to Kamaru Usman, y'all. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode, guys. That's pretty much all I got on this one. Let me know what y'all think about what I talked about, the topics in this episode as far as Shevchenko. Let me know if she's too good for her own good. Rose Namajunas, is she the GOAT? I said I don't think so. Invicta FC, are y'all gonna watch? Joanna, does she deserve a title shot? Yeah, but we'll talk some more. We'll keep talking about different things on these episodes. Some things we'll revisit on this show. Yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got on this episode. But yeah, my final thoughts, like I said, going back to somebody like Valentina Shevchenko, I think that you're never too good for your own good. If that's really what you're going for in your life, you will kind of when you really want to set yourself, when you really want to set the bar for yourself and you want to exceed and you want to do your best, and when you find success, you are going to start making enemies that way, because some people are going to get jealous. Some people are going to, kind of try to make you second guess yourself because you're stepping away from the pack. Valentina's stepping away from the pack, and a lot of people like us in life, we're trying to do better. When you're trying to do better and you try to step away from the crabs in the barrel, you're trying to step away from the people who want to just continue to stay back and do the same thing over and over. You want to exceed that, they'll kind of hold you back and say certain things about you. They'll want to say, oh, you're trying to be better than us, or you're trying to, you ain't doing anything special. They'll try to hold you back that way. But if you really want to exceed life, then you just got to say, forget everybody else. I got to do me. And I think that's a perfect example of fighters like Floyd Mayweather. And like I said, with Valentina Shevchenko, she strives to be the best. She challenges herself. And, she's out to build her legacy, not your legacy, not the fans' legacy, not the haters' legacy. She's out to do her. And that's how you got to do in life, I feel, man. Like, if you really want to step out the box, you got to forget what everybody else is saying about you, or telling you what type of champion to be, or what type of worker you need to be, or what type of businessman you need to be. You can't listen to people like that. You got to be your own entity. Yeah, man. But that's all I got, guys. And yeah, make sure y'all subscribe like always. Check out the podcast on cb99talks.com. And I got some new followers on iTunes, so make sure y'all subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Googleplay. Just type in hashtag CB99Talks. If y'all, I know y'all listen to the episodes on YouTube, but check it out on these platforms. Just play it on your phone while you're riding or whatever. That's the best place to go back and listen to all the episodes. If you haven't heard them all on YouTube, all the episodes I posted up there on these social platforms. But yeah, guys, that's all I got. I'll be back with another episode like always. I'm Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.